All right, my name is Jason Crawford. This is WP Roundtable, and welcome to Hangout number 16, where today we're going to be discussing various ways to make money using WordPress.
Woohoo!
What do you got for us?
Nate, you're on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was you first. Hey, everybody. Nathan Driver here, digital media strategist, web developer here in Dayton, Ohio. Excited to be here.
All right, I'll go next. Kellen Mace, freelance web developer in Metro Detroit area, Michigan. Happy to be on tonight talking about making the big bucks with WordPress. Brian.
Hey guys, I'm Brian, developer here in Dayton. Big WordPress user here, and speaking of WordCamps all over Ohio.
And now
Michigan.
Woohoo!
All right, so let's get this show on the road. We gonna start off with selling products.
Let's do it.
All right, so you want to kick that off, or you want me to?
No, you can go ahead. Why don't you do that one?
So yeah, we're gonna break products down into two different types of products tonight. So you got digital products and physical products, and both of them can be easily done pretty much the same way, just different delivery type and how much non-internet world work you have to put into it as far as dropping off, whether you're doing direct shipments or whatnot. But basically, selling products, you're using WordPress as your own website. We've already had a guest come on from Shop Plugin that talked about how to, actually market and put your products on a website and make them available to purchase, right? So, and we kind of touched on that a little bit already, but basically you're using WordPress to promote and sell your own products right there, and there's tons of plugins and options and tools that we can discuss on that, but basically the first one was selling products.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think the first one was that one was geared more toward users, so somebody who has a WordPress site installed and wants to begin selling either digital or physical products. Of course, WordPress is a great avenue for that since it makes managing your content and your e-commerce store and all that stuff as a site owner really easy. A little later on, we'll talk about the developers selling things on their sites, which would also be classified as digital products, but plugins and themes and things like that. Next, though, let's talk about something WordPress users or site owners could also do. We'll keep on that topic for the moment, and that is running a membership site. There are lots of sites out there. Many of these have to do with a certain shared, interest. So you can find blogs all over the internet on, gardening or certain music genres or sports, teams, etc. And a really active, blogger who's kind of driving traffic to the site, and then something for sale. If the intent here is to make money on the site, then that goes back to the digital products or physical products. But it could also be access to premium content. That's what we're getting at with membership sites. So there are lots of great WordPress plugins out there that let you restrict certain content on your site and allow access to that only to paid subscribers or to members to your site. And a lot of those sites do really well for themselves. They do drip products with new posts periodically to keep people coming back and to keep people just to stay in the forefront of people's minds coming back to their sites, selling whatever subscription service that is for the membership. So it's a really popular method as well. Jason, do you have something else you wanted to jump back in with?
Oh yeah, no, I thought you had already started to move on to the next topic, but I wanted to just cover a couple other maybe physical or individual products that people might sell that are common to be sold online.
Sure, yeah.
And you talking about that premium membership? That's a great one. That also a lot of photography gets sold directly online. And I wanted to point out another thing, another website. It's smugmug.com, and that's really where a lot of professional photographers will go sell their photography. But a lot of what you can do incorporating that into WordPress is just have those two basically tie in together, and sell quality photography using the SmugMug automated option to have it automatically delivered to the customer. And what they do is they'll print it. They'll print it on anything from a standard paper to canvas to I think they even sell metal printings of photography. But where you can really incorporate that into WordPress is by having your blog and having a site that actually builds into that and focuses around that. And then you can match the two up during using your themes and whatnot, so that you could still incorporate that SmugMug or something similar to that that's selling your products while keeping more control over the whole website as a whole by using something like WordPress, because SmugMug does give you a lot of, and a lot of other sites like that, I'm just using that as an example, give you the opportunity to customize a lot of stuff, but you really don't have complete control over it like you would if you wanted to add a blog or storylines about this particular photo set and whatnot. So you can really drive traffic with that, and then use those other services to funnel your sales if you want all that completely automated process. And I'm using photography for that. But again, SmugMug does a great job with that stuff. They do some high quality prints, and it's a good example of how you can just tie in SmugMug with a regular WordPress website and really drive your traffic using your website and do all the sales completely remotely. And that's for an actual physical product. Ebooks and stuff like that can be even easier because they're just immediately downloaded. But yeah, again, premium sites, membership sites, these ebooks and stuff like that might be things that you're getting as part of those membership sites.
Yeah, very cool.
My question to you guys is, what type of plugins would you recommend to sell said products, either the downloads or the actual physical products? Would you go the route of the popular WooCommerce, or would you go Shop or whatnot? I want to hear from you guys what you guys recommend.
Yeah, Jason, you want to tackle that one?
What I'll use is, I'll use Shop mainly for products or any other kind of information like that. But for membership sites or anything like that, I don't have a good solution, and I'm kind of excited to hear what you guys have to say for membership solution-wise.
I'm pulling one up. I don't do a lot of sales. Of actual sales websites, but I have done a couple of membership websites, and I need to find the actual one that I'm recommending for you before I go in and recommend it and label it. So if anybody else can go on for a moment,
sure.
while I dig through this.
Yeah, I'll hop in for a quick second. Most of my client sites I do are not e-commerce. Some, not all that well versed in iThemes Exchange versus Shop versus WooCommerce, some of the particulars of those e-commerce plugins. For membership, though, I wanted to mention that I just watched a great series of videos on WP Sessions. If you're a member there, they had Chris Lemma on, who's a big name in the WordPress space, really well known, and his day job is for a company called Emphasis Software, and they have a few really large clients who run membership sites, and he's had a lot of experience installing, configuring, and using all of those plugins with clients, to the point where he has an entire section on his site. It's chrislemma.com dedicated to just memberships, plugins, and his reviews of them, and comparing and contrasting all the different ones that are out there. So I think a lot of people weigh his advice really heavily. And in those WP sessions, it's similar to what's on a lot of the articles you'll find on his blog. But in this session, WP Sessions talk he gave, he summarizes what you should look for. And he said there is no 1, 2, or even 5 plugins he would say is better than the other one. It all depends on what you need. So in this talk, he broke down what to look for first and second and third. Some of the things were first you look for what payment gateways are supported. Some of those membership plugins are PayPal only. whereas some support other payment gateways. So depending on what you need, how you need to take payment, that will rule some of them out right off the bat. Some of them handle subscriptions, some don't. What else was there? If you need the users to have their own private space on your site where they have a page, dedicated to them with just all their information on it, it's whether that's just a site, displaying their info, or a site that they can even interact with and kind of save their data to, that kind of thing. Some of the plugins provide that the user's own space on your site, whereas others don't. So he does a really good job breaking down what plugins are good for what. I know on his site under that memberships category as well, there's one article that says why I only recommend 8 membership plugins. And in that he goes into some more detail about some of the favorites, I think. So at least a few resources on that topic.
Well, that's I probably ought to look at that. What I'm pulling up here is I use these two, the one on the left, the marketplace e-commerce, and I really don't have a lot of experience with it, to be honest, but I have toyed with it in the past. And then the membership plugin, both from WPMU, and I've been using WPMU forever. I use a lot of their different stuff, and the membership plugin I've used. They've got tutorials on it. I'm not going to dive into it, but those are two. Like I said, I haven't really messed with the market e-commerce a lot, but just membership from WPMU I have used, and it's nice. And they've got their own tutorials. I'm not going to dig into it forever today.
I've never actually used membership. I looked at it today actually for a website, but there was really one major downside for me on the membership plugin. It does not allow anything but PayPal, and that's a big negative for me. I use all of my payment systems right now are Stripe. Everything I do is through Stripe. I've left PayPal. I don't like their model anymore. I don't like what they've been doing with the company. I've been using Stripe. So membership looks like a great plugin, but I cannot wait until they bring in more payment gateways.
Yeah,
it's a valid point. I don't use Stripe, so I'll have to dig into that a little bit more too.
Yeah, to call out by name the 8 that Chris Lemma recommends at least. Let's see, his favorites are Restrict Content Pro, which is the Pippin Williamson plugin, so it has really close integration with Easy Digital Downloads. Paid Memberships Pro, Cart66, MemberPress, WooCommerce with the Groups add-on. If you purchase the Groups add-on, it'll do that. Magic Members, MemberMouse, and then iThemes Exchange, that plugin. So those are the 8, again, depending on your needs that he would recommend.
So there's cuddling going on back there.
What was that?
What?
I said I see some cuddling going on back there.
You know it.
Right.
Yeah. That's how we do it with WordPress.
Well, for anybody watching, unfortunately, Nathan and Brian have decided to join us while out having a couple drinks. That's not the unfortunate part. The unfortunate part is we got to see them both in one camera, and that his computer might be acting up. I don't know what's going on. What made you switch over there? But all right, looks good. Looks like you guys are having a good time.
You're saving some bandwidth. No problem.
There you go. Exactly. We're trying to be resourceful.
Nice.
All right. Next on the list to discuss, we had WordPress podcasts. This is another avenue to make money around the topic and the platform that is WordPress. So there are a few of them out there, a few examples I was going to cite. One is the Matt Report, really popular business, WordPress business podcast. And Matt Medeiros is the guy behind that. And he's created a whole, again, just on the topic of membership sites, he's created a Matt Report Pro, it's called. So you can go to the site and get access to all the pro content that only those members would have access to. And that includes offline chats with some of the guests on his show, a members-only forum, discounts to certain products from sponsors of the show, things like that. They're offered to only those folks. Another one would be Pippin Williamson and Brad Tenard, I think is how you say his last name, do a great podcast for WordPress developers called Apply Filters. And I think that one they do more so just because they're passionate about the community, talking about this kind of stuff. But that one is a sponsored podcast, so they do have some income coming in from that. Last one is the Dradcast with Brad Williams and Dre Armada, which is another great example. So a few are on that. And the next topic we have is client work, whether that's through some WordPress design development shop or agency or doing freelance work. That was the next one. So this I know the folks on the Hangout have had some some familiarity with. So what do you guys have to say? You want to break down some of the different roles that can take?
Want to go first? Yeah, no. I mean, we both work for advertising agencies, actually competing agencies, kind of.
It's wrong.
But no, we both actually try to use WordPress in the majority of our projects for our clients. And personally, I found it's more or less to increase your bottom line is to streamline project whole. And I know we've already talked about this in previous Hangouts, but we can have great developers, we can make great money, but if you're constantly going back and forth with your client on revisions and changes, and yes, you can pass the cost on, it doesn't benefit you or the client when it gets to that point, because now you're just wasting your time where you could be working on another client's WordPress site or developing a better strategy for a different, so it becomes that headache. I know that's how it is personally for me, developing and strategizing for clients. I don't know about Brian.
Yeah, same. And for me with the freelance side of it too is, I look at what the client's budget is, and it may mean that the client needs to have an off-the-shelf theme.
Right.
So depending on what the client's budget is, it allows me to make money by using WordPress by either utilizing an off-the-shelf theme or even a child theme of that off-the-shelf theme. But then, even a theme from scratch, to save myself time, I use things like Underscore, which I've talked about numerous times on this Hangout. Any kind of framework to help me speed along the development.
Yeah, and to kind of build off of Brian's point, to grab a theme that's already been developed and maybe even create a child theme, it can even be more difficult depending on how that original theme was built, because now you're going to have to grab into their hooks, into their filters, and sometimes that is going to be more time than you actually budgeted for. And so it's one of those things like, yes, freelancing is great, working for an agency is great because you're constantly flipping, not flipping, but you're getting more clients, you're supposedly getting more revenue, but at the same time, if you're constantly doing the same thing over and over, then you're really not maximizing your potential. You're not maximizing your dollars, your hours.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good comments. Next, we had kind of a few categories within WordPress development. So I was going to go through the different ways in which you can do that. So there are folks out there who I think of as site implementers, for lack of a better term, but these are the folks who are familiar with WordPress sites enough to set them up, not necessarily to work with code or to design things. So these folks would, work with clients who need, just as we talked about a moment ago, either the off-the-shelf theme or child theme that someone else creates, but they wouldn't create that. But they know enough to, purchase a domain name and hosting for somebody, do a WordPress installation, apply whatever theme needs to be on that site, and then also install and configure the plugins for that site. And even just knowing those things is, can go quite a long way for the client who, again, has the lower budget, doesn't need something ultra, custom. and can get by with just some of the stock themes that are out there, or lower cost themes, and some of the free or low cost plugins. A site implementer like that might be all that that is needed. All right. Beyond that, though, there are site designers or developers. These are the folks who, as Brian alluded to a moment ago, who would create a theme or a theme from scratch, using Underscore, Startbox, Genesis, any of these frameworks, or creating a child theme at the very least. It may involve setting up, custom post types and kind of looking under the hood, to find out what kind of data this user needs to save to which locations, and then how it's going to be pulled back out and displayed on the site. Kind of a little heavier lifting than the site implementers would do, right? These are the folks we think of as web designers or developers. Beyond that, another avenue would be building client-requested plugins to add additional functionality. So there are folks out there who do client work, but in addition to setting up new sites, they may have existing clients, for instance, who are changing their business model a little bit, or their needs have shifted a little bit, such that maybe they require additional functionality. It's something as simple as writing a small plugin or tweaking one of the existing plugins. So that could be another avenue, is just building client-requested plugins. Let's see, fourth one on the list, second to last one here, is repairing broken sites or providing emergency support. I know there's one guy, John Overall, who's we talked about plugins earlier. He runs a popular one. It's WordPress Plugins A to Z. Is a popular podcast out there, and he's one of the speakers. He's one of the presenters each week on that podcast, and his entire business is I am an emergency WordPress site resource. That's how he bills himself. Where if anybody's site has blown up, so to speak, if something has gone terribly wrong once they updated their themes or plugins, and now data is missing and there's some emergency, he specializes in just that, and kind of fixing or repairing sites. It was kind of an interesting model or business to be in.
I don't want his job.
I know. Can you imagine that? He must thrive under stress, I guess, and not mind absorbing a lot of insults from clients. So, the last one I had on the list is doing consulting. So there are a lot of clients out there who have an existing WordPress site, but just need advice on doing things better. Whether that's branding themselves or their company, from their logos to their slogans and marketing messages or whatever else. Search engine optimization, which Nate knows quite a lot about here. What kind of audience they're targeting. If they have an active blog that they're keeping up, what topics to choose, and what audience are they targeting. Running ads, either on their site to refer people out other places, or on other sites, like on Facebook ads or Google AdWords, or doing affiliate programs, to drive traffic into their site, or just increasing conversions. This can be something as simple as doing heat mapping, it's called, which is just figuring out when users come to your site, where are they clicking, which links do they tend to gravitate toward, and can you do, sometimes it gets into the psychology of what do people gravitate toward for any given screen. If the button is 10% bigger, or it's on the left or centered, or if the title is even bigger, will that increase or decrease sales? So I've heard some crazy stats on this. Like there's one. This is Louis Reingold. Is one. He's a seller of the WP All Import plugin. He's had great success with that plugin and a few others. But I watched one talk with him where he talked about how the money back guarantee that he had on his site. He found that increasing the font size, by 10 points or something like that, upped his conversions by some insane by like 10 or 20%. More people would buy it if he had the really large, free, money back guarantee staring folks in the face on that sales page. He found that something as simple as that would up conversions quite a bit. So it takes folks with the know-how, to help these clients with WordPress sites who want to be able to increase their branding and SEO and work with ads and do conversions and that kind of thing. So that's a whole business in and of itself is consulting in that way. So before we leave client work, that behemoth of a topic, do you guys have things to add on some of those points?
Yeah, I just want to talk about you kind of went through each point kind of quickly. I want to talk about site implementation. There's a new service out there. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's WP Moving Experts. They'll actually move your site for a low cost pretty quickly. I know there are plugins out there and stuff, but some people I know some of the clients or some of the individuals that can't afford agency costs. We say, okay, go get this plugin, go do this, this, and this. It'll take them probably 24 to 48 hours to figure it out. When I think WP Moving Experts is a couple bucks to do it. Now the site design development you had mentioned, like I said, I work in the agency world. I actually work with 5 designers, so they actually will develop a site with PSDs. They'll take it to myself or another developer and say, let's flip this and make it actually a website, make it responsive, do all this fancy stuff. And that's great, and that's where we actually excel at, because that's where we take the underscores or the bootstrap and grab that functionality and say, okay, now we're going to make it the client's own website. When we talk about the repair of the broken sites, that is extremely difficult and extremely time-consuming, because then it's one of those things, why is it broken? Is it a plugin? Is it a theme? Is it the server that it's on? A recent thing was we have a client that's on an old PHP version, so a plugin wasn't working for that. So okay, now we have to upgrade that, and now okay, what cost goes into this? So there's a lot of things that we need that not only agencies but freelancers and just developers need to think about as they go along. And then the last, of course, is the consulting, which branding, SEO, that's what I love to do, and that goes along with the strategy. And that should be one of the forefront items that people need to think about. It's why are you creating a website? Just for your business? No, it should be to bring people in, to people call you, to download for e-commerce, and then there needs to be some type of event, some type of analytics that go along with it.
Well, it's so good out here.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah, good points.
Do you agree with all that? Want to move on to back onto those digital products there, Kyle? Or Kellen?
Kellen? Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, sure thing.
By the bartender.
No problem. All right, so the next one we had that we wanted to talk about tonight is selling digital products, but not in the same sense we talked about it a moment ago. At the beginning of the podcast, we talked about selling either physical or digital products online, just from a user or a site owner's perspective. Now we'll talk about it from a developer's perspective, though. So this would be somebody who has created one or more WordPress themes or plugins and is selling them in a commercial capacity, is selling them as a business. All right.
Right. And if I can interrupt real
Sure,
quick,
please,
Kellen.
yeah.
One of the things that I actually come across, and actually Brian and I were having this discussion earlier, it's, I'm a big proponent of say Woo themes and elegant themes and iThemes and whatnot, because of client's budget. It's one of those things we don't, they don't have the budget, so we don't have the time to create a new one. But I'm seeing a lot of companies like, the Woo, the Elegant Pie. I'm not trying to say individually these companies, but I'm not seeing a lot of no one's they're staying in this box where they're not developing beyond what everybody else is developing. They're doing, they're using the same type of, you can almost sense it. They're using the same type of framework. They're using the same type of CSS. Nothing is different. And I don't know where we're going with WordPress when it comes to selling themes, but there needs to be a company that comes in and changes it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a few Hangouts ago we had one where we went a bit deeper into the topic of themes, and I think during that Hangout we discussed, I think I brought up the point that, on especially Theme Forest, that is the most well-known marketplace out there outside of the free WordPress.org theme directory. The most widely known commercial one is Theme Forest, run by the Envato network, and that one, quite interesting to me, is this debate between having just packed themes that are absolutely packed with features compared to themes that are more stripped down and do what they do well, but leave advanced functionality to plugins, and how they're, from a user's perspective, it looks as though you're getting more for your money if you purchase one of these themes that says, it comes with 6 different, sliders, and 5 different, optional parallax, effects, and all the bells and whistles, that come in a certain theme. And it looks like, oh, this, I'm going to get more for my money if I purchase this one, compared to just a theme that looks really nice and lays the framework, but then relying on some plugins to provide that additional functionality. And how, there's this move toward more bloated themes, unfortunately, because the user doesn't know any better and thinks they're getting more for their money. But now I think there are some theme shops out there there's a trend in the opposite direction. A few of these companies have come out and said they're going to simplify, from now on. What, Brian?
Yeah. It got to the point, it was so bad that developers were trying to come up with this all-in-one theme. Everything is available for you. You get to pick. But really what it needs to be is really good themes that do one thing. It has that one good slider, that one good page transition type, like when you scroll down. I'm seeing it a lot right now. You scroll down on the page and things pop up at you. It needs to be that one versus trying to fit into everything.
And not only that, and that's on the front end, I think. The back end, because I like Woo Themes back end. They make it simple for users. They make it simple for clients that say, you know what, I like this font, but I want to make it bigger. Okay, now we have to track this down. Now we have to charge you and do this, or I'm not saying we do, but it's one of those things. But now it's become, okay, the front end's great. Now, what does the dashboard look like for that particular plugin? Is it user friendly? Because that can be a huge plus or a minus for a theme developer. Because if you don't develop a great theme dashboard for your users, they're never going to buy another one from you.
Yep.
End of story.
Yep, definitely. And I think to Nate's earlier point too about creating something different, something unique, targeting a niche or niche, however you choose to say it. Targeting a niche market is really key. There's one recent success story I heard is a guy, I can't remember his name, but he started church themes. I think it's .org, but his entire site is, as the name suggests, it's just themes for churches, and has everything that they would need, nothing less, nothing more. Really kind of simplistic design. But that's all they do, and they're doing really well. He says that with essentially zero marketing, just word of mouth, his business is doing very well just because it's targeting that niche market instead of trying to be this this theme that is everything to everyone at all times and is just very bloated and too generic and that kind of thing that we've been talking about.
Yeah, to bring that back on, I know we've kind of gone on the themes here, but for the developers and coders, something like Envato Marketplace, again, I don't use many, I've never used a theme out of there, but I do use some of their plugins, and so that's a good place where somebody can jump in and put in their own themes and plugins, and I think there's some moderation effect there, but I know I've purchased themes that are not themes, but plugins from people who have only that's their first plugin that they've ever put out on the market, and gotten good results out of that. I think it's a good place where if you're trying to market yourself in the WordPress community and sell a product, that's a good way to go.
Yeah, I've actually submitted a few things to the Envato Theme Forest / Code Canyon. It is extremely difficult nowadays to get to become an author on those networks, because the responses I always got back, even though this was so inaccurate, was there's already something on our marketplace that does that. So to Nate's point, yeah, there's a ton of stuff, and I was trying to bring something new to it, but they saw it as, well, there's these other 5 plugins that do kind of the same thing, but not really.
Well, yeah, and it could be that Brian's plugin or theme or whatever that you're trying to sell. Going back to selling your product, your load time is quicker now. It's not bloated with code. It's straight and to the point. You don't have, like everyone's saying, you don't have all these extra features. And Kellen, like you mentioned, the person that's selling the church themes, they're not trying to sell to these fitness themes or these fitness companies. They're trying to sell to who they're geared towards, and that's what we need to kind of go back to a little bit. Is this niche or whatever you want to call it, branding and marketing when it comes to themes, because everybody is trying to be everything, and we can't do that anymore.
Yep, for sure.
Because of that whole Envato stuff, I've actually been looking at ways where I can start, selling on my own, whether it be the way of on my own website with the shop plugin, or WooCommerce, or even easy digital downloads, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Ways like that. But the issue I come to have an issue with is the license. Like iThemes, they do a really good job with like their Backup Buddy or their plugins, things like that. They've got a database of you've purchased this for a year, you've purchased this for a single site or dual site, things like that. There's no good out of the box ways that you can implement that on your own themes or plugins, and there really needs to be something like that.
Sounds like a new project for you, actually.
I'll get right on. It'll be done tomorrow.
Whoa.
All right.
Now you guys are all of a sudden Speedy Gonzalez here, huh?
It's live on air. We're going to hold you to it.
Yeah. Please do. Tomorrow next year.
12 months.
All right. So we talked in some detail about themes, and of course, and the other big one for WordPress is plugins, of course. So several of the guys on the Hangout have written a few plugins. You can also create extensions or add-ons to other people's plugins, right? So a few examples of those would be like Woo themes, or WooCommerce, right? Or easy digital downloads, where the core product is free, but they have add-ons that are offered. All right.
I mean, even Kyle, who's with us most of the time, not here this week. I think this is his first week that he missed. But he's got the Client Dash plugin that he's got add-ons available now, and he could easily take those and create a marketplace with those add-ons, type stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a perfect segue then to talk about a few of the pricing models out there. So we talked about all the things that you can sell, in the WordPress space. Now we'll talk about a few of the pricing models that we see out there. Maybe we'll take these a little slower, kind of one by one, and make it live up to our name and make it a true round table to talk about these. The first pricing model is the premium model, meaning you will not find a free version of this on the WordPress.org plugin directory or theme directory at all. It's just not there. The only thing to purchase is the premium product. So a few examples would be Gravity Forms. They've done really well. Very popular and very powerful form software plugin they sell. Or Backup Buddy, we mentioned earlier, is another one. There'd be a premium plugin. What else? Some others you guys want to name?
The biggest one I want to add on, I don't know about Brian, is advanced custom fields.
Yes.
Yes, there is free parts of that, but there are premium add-ons that can make it even better.
Yeah,
so,
and their new version of it, the Advanced Custom Fields Pro,
yeah.
which is what they're going towards now, is completely premium. You have to pay for
Right.
it.
I was going to say, I think I just heard they switched right from freemium, which we'll talk about in a minute here, to completely premium going forward, right?
Right. It's still definitely worth it, and if you moving on to the freemium model, if you purchased any of the plugins that the free version of Advanced Custom Fields gave you, you get a really nice discount on the premium version now, on the Advanced Custom Fields Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And for any developers out there, I mean, you cannot go wrong with ACF. I mean, I just learned about it a year and a half ago, and I have been shouting from the hilltops of the benefits of what it can do. I have yet to find out what it cannot do.
I don't know how I lived without it.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier when it comes to development. The client wants to do different things, and you're just going, okay, yes, I can do this. I can make this happen. And you're creating plugins, or you're trying to find a plugin, or you're just trying to make it as cheap as possible. So how do we do this? And I have found ACF has been the only way I can do it, cost-effective. And actually, when it comes to user interface and user experience on the back end for a client, it can't be beat.
Yeah, I agree. I like ACF a lot. Jason, any thoughts on that? I'm thinking, do we have at least one example of premium themes that have no free version on .org? What are one or two resources for that?
Themes, or are we going with plugins?
Well, we talked about a few plugin examples like Gravity Forms and Backup Buddy. I was going to mention at least one or two premium theme examples.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to stick me with saying my only theme.
Headway.
You know the answer is going to be Headway. It is a premium theme. I use it. Boom, don't use any other themes, so you stuck me in a corner there.
Yeah.
You know, another one of them is like the Canvas theme by iThemes. It's a premium theme. You have to have that. You can't get it on the WordPress repository or anything. It's from iThemes. You buy it from them, but it gives you all the framework to be able to build on. To go back at the earlier part of our conversation, build onto it. Basically, create a child theme.
Canvas?
Yeah.
Canvas.
Woo.
I'm sorry, Woo. I'm talking which iThemes has.
Yeah, Builder.
Builder.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
I always get those backwards.
That's all right.
I've used that, so I was kind of.
Corey, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yep. Same idea though for iThemes Builder. Same
concept. Yes.
All right. So yeah. So premium products would be again not listed on .org. You know, there's no free version. It would be only premium products. But you can get away with that if you have a lot of word of mouth and or good marketing to drive people to you and wanting to purchase those premium plugins. For those that want a little help marketing, though, the next one can be helpful, and that is the freemium model. This would be, this would be where the developer offers some stripped down version, or simpler version of the either plugin or theme, and typically offers that on the WordPress.org plugin or theme directory to get users accustomed to it and using it actively. But they also sell a premium version that those users can choose to upgrade to. This can be a very lucrative model because it's the barrier to entry is so low, right? It takes very little for a user to just click that download button and for free start playing with and start getting hooked on using your product, and then eventually start to want additional features out of it, and then think, well, maybe after all, I do like it after all, so I'll go ahead and pay for the upgrade. So a lot of folks use the WordPress.org directories for that purpose, to kind of get people hooked on their base product, but then upsell the premium version. So a few versions I had of that are Soliloquy. There's Soliloquy Lite by Thomas Griffin. You'll find on the .org repository, which is a really lightweight, simple image slider. I shouldn't say image because you can slide any kind of media, but just a slider. But he also sells the Soliloquy, slider pro version that you can upgrade to. Another example would be WordPress SEO by Yoast. Right, most everybody uses the pro version. There's been, I think, over 1 million downloads by now, just a ton of them. But if you want even more bells and whistles than that, there is a premium, upgrade available to purchase. What about, you guys want to chime in with any other examples of freemium products out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of them that'll let you do certain things. I know we talked last week about how Managed WP might have switched. Yeah, they recently switched, but they used to do your first 10 sites free. Okay, now nothing's coming to mind.
Yeah. There are a lot of themes in particular on the WordPress repository. There's a business theme I used recently called Invert. It'll be one example. I think it's pretty popular on the repo, but they have a really nice looking, well designed base theme. But if you want to be able to customize it even more, then they upsell you with the premium version. All right. The next thing.
Theme-wise, for premium, there's a really good example which Nate actually talked about is the elegant themes. It's kind of a freemium. You have to pay for it, but
That's not really free.
You pay minimal charge, but they also have a freemium version, which is the non-PSD version.
There you go. That's where they catch you.
They basically upsell you to be able to get the PSDs to modify them, but you can get a much cheaper cost. Yeah, it's not truly freemium, but it's kind of the same model where they suck you in. But then if you want to do any kind of modifications, you need to upgrade to the developer package to be able to get the PSDs. So I personally consider that the freemium premium model.
That's pretty new to me. When we're talking about plugins, and you mentioned WordPress SEO by Yoast, and obviously your touch is a little close to home because I am nothing but SEO. But freemium themes, you go to the top 10 of most used themes on WordPress.org, you're going to find them. I mean, we could talk about plugins all day. The free ones, obviously. There are some great ones out there, and WordPress SEO obviously is one of them. I don't want to. I could talk about it for about another 30 minutes, but I won't. So I'll shut up.
Yeah. No, we've heard some good examples though, but I think it's worth noting before we leave the freemium topic that the big benefit is more exposure. To me,
it's because you can get those freemium models on the WordPress repository, the WordPress.org/themes or plugins, whatever it is, but you can still make money off of them.
Right.
Yep. So then as opposed to the premium model where you're trying to find ways to draw people toward your site, so that they can find and pay for your plugin. With the freemium model, kind of a lot of the advertising is done for you, right? Just because if somebody searches for a plugin that has whatever functionality it is on the WordPress plugin or theme directory, there it is. It'll pop right up for you. So it saves you some work in that regard. Next one on the list we had is a free base product with paid add-ons. Okay, so kind of a spin on freemium. This would be an example. This would be Easy Digital Downloads. That plugin, the base plugin, is free, open source. Anybody can download it, change it, modify the files, you name it. There's no cost to that core product, but they have Pippin Williamson has created quite a network of add-ons or extensions other developers have built for that platform, and those are all paid, right? All those add-ons are. A few other examples would be WooCommerce or AppPresser, where the core AppPresser plugin is free, but they sell a lot of add-ins that are all commercial products. All right, any thoughts on that one?
e-commerce plugins are following that model now, the free base with all add-on support for payment gateways or any kind of variable product type stuff.
Yeah. Yep, and I think it really pays off, just, again, the power of the open source community, right? Since that base product is, I think, the bulk of the functionality, if you can get folks from the community chipping in and contributing code to that and pointing out, any bugs or whatever else, it actually benefits you quite a bit to have that part of it, free and open source. And then you're still able to sell, the add-ons commercially. All right, and the last, this is by no means an exhaustive list, but just a few of the main models here. The last one is, let's see whoops. I'm sorry, we just covered the last. It was the free base product with paid support, but somebody added shop. You want to speak to that?
Yeah. we hadn't covered this really. Shop is a combination of both the last thing we just talked about with the paid add-ons, but it also he just switched from a completely premium model to the free base with paid add-ons and paid support. Paid support is becoming a very popular thing to get the plugin out there, but if you want any kind of support that you can't get just via a form or something like that, they're going into the free base product with paid support, which I put in shop is one of the key ones. We just had Jonathan on, and he talked about it a little bit. But in order to get any real, I shouldn't say real support, but any specific support for your website, yeah. It's a paid support platform.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, great example. A few other ones would be Justin Tadlock's popular theme framework called Theme Hybrid. Right. That's another where the base product is free, but any support that you might want comes at a cost. Or Paid Memberships Pro, which is one of the, going back to the membership plugins we discussed, that's one where, again, the base product is free, but support is sold as the real, money-making product there. All right, our last topic, informative site advertising.
I gotta ask, who here uses AdSense anymore? Has anyone ever really gotten $1 million?
I pay hundreds of dollars a month for that.
No, not pay. You get millions of dollars.
Oh, that's yeah.
No. I mean, the days of getting those, and I actually got a check or two, I think, from AdSense years back when I was doing all these niche marketing sites. But I think the days are over for using AdSense. I'm not saying for those users out there that are just trying to get $50 here and there. Go to affiliate marketing. Go for sponsorships as much as possible, because it is out there and it's not difficult to get. Especially affiliate marketing, from Amazon to ShareSale to ClickBank to all the ones that are out there. It's not difficult to sign up, create a niche website around that, or if your website is already around a certain niche, to find a certain type of advertiser for that.
Yeah, I'm sure all of us have at least one referral link that we send to people. I know I've got referral links. I could do pages of referral links. I'm also partners for other organizations.
Wait, now, let me ask you this though. If you have affiliate links on your site, do you have a disclaimer on your site?
No.
You have to.
Really?
Yes.
It's good to know.
Per the FCC, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, basically they said there's no more cloaking. You have to basically say this is an affiliate link, or I am a paid sponsor of so-and-so hosting. Not saying that you can not get away with it, but legally speaking, you have to put it. You can actually have a separate page, say .com/disclaimer, and talk about I am affiliate for these companies, or this company paid me to talk about this product or service. So that's it.
I did not know that.
Change that.
It's just something that you need to be aware of. Because at a lower level, it doesn't matter, but when you get into a little bit higher, that's where it really comes. Okay, now they're going to come after your pocketbook, and that's where it's going to hurt.
Good to know.
Yeah, I think the affiliate link I have listed on my actual website. It's not my personal website. It's for a plugin I built for Chrome. I think I've made maybe 20 cents on it. So I think.
Yeah.
What do you say, guys? Ready to wrap it up? We're at that hour.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. I'm glad you guys could join us last minute there and tease us with your beers a little bit.
Right.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Later.